Imagine having enough money to buy almost anything in the world. A private jet. A beachfront mansion. A yacht longer than a football field. Now imagine walking into a Ferrari dealership, ready to spend millions of dollars. Only to hear one simple word. No. It sounds impossible. After all, money opens almost every door. But in the world of Ferrari, money alone isn't always enough. Because Ferrari isn't simply selling cars. It's selling something far more valuable. Exclusivity. Over the years, you've probably heard stories claiming Ferrari has banned celebrities or refuses to sell cars to certain people. Some of those stories are exaggerated. Others are completely false. But behind all the myths lies a fascinating truth. Ferrari has built one of the most successful luxury business models in history by doing something that almost every other manufacturer tries to avoid. It intentionally creates scarcity. Today, we're going behind the scenes to discover how Ferrari chooses its most exclusive customers, why some collectors receive invitations that money can't buy, and how saying no became one of the company's greatest competitive advantages. Because in the Ferrari universe, the rarest product isn't the car. It's the opportunity to own one. Ferrari's story begins long before billionaire collectors and million-dollar auctions. In 1947, Enzo Ferrari introduced the first car to carry his own name. He wasn't trying to build the biggest car company in the world. His true passion was racing. Road cars existed for one reason: to finance the racing team. That philosophy shaped Ferrari forever. Performance came first. Prestige followed. And profits were never supposed to come from selling the highest number of vehicles. Instead, Ferrari developed a strategy that most businesses would consider completely irrational. Build fewer cars than the market wants. Year after year, demand would exceed supply. Waiting lists grew longer. Collectors became more loyal. And every Ferrari became more desirable simply because not everyone could have one. Former Ferrari chairman Luca di Montezemolo once summarized the philosophy with a sentence that has become legendary. We will always deliver one car less than the market demands. That single idea transformed Ferrari into something much bigger than an automobile manufacturer. It became one of the world's strongest luxury brands. Unlike mass-market automakers competing to increase production every year, Ferrari carefully manages the number of vehicles it builds. Even as demand continues to rise across the globe, the company has repeatedly emphasized that protecting exclusivity is more important than maximizing short-term sales. That decision isn't driven by ego. It's driven by economics. Luxury works differently. If everyone can own it, it stops being luxury. Think about the world's most prestigious watchmakers. Or the rarest Hermès handbags. Or limited works of art. Their value doesn't come only from craftsmanship. It comes from rarity. Ferrari applies exactly the same principle. And that's where things become really interesting. Because not every Ferrari is equally difficult to buy. If you want a production model like a Ferrari Roma, a 296 GTB, or a Purosangue, and your local dealership has an allocation available, you can absolutely become a Ferrari customer. There is no secret committee deciding whether you're worthy. If the vehicle is available and the purchase complies with local requirements, Ferrari is happy to welcome a new client. So where did the stories about Ferrari rejecting wealthy buyers come from? The answer lies in a completely different world. The world of Ferrari's ultra-limited cars. Models like the LaFerrari, the Monza SP1 and SP2, the Daytona SP3. Cars produced in extremely small numbers. These aren't simply placed on a showroom floor waiting for whoever arrives first. Ferrari follows a carefully managed allocation process. Existing relationships matter. Long-term loyalty matters. Collectors who have supported the brand for years often receive priority when these extraordinary models become available. It's not simply about writing the biggest check. It's about becoming part of Ferrari's history. And that difference changes everything. Before we continue, if you enjoy discovering the hidden strategies behind the world's most exclusive luxury brands, subscribe to the channel. Every week we uncover the stories that most people never get to hear. Now, here's where Ferrari's strategy becomes even more fascinating. For many collectors, buying the first Ferrari isn't the finish line. It's the beginning of a relationship. A relationship that can last decades. And sometimes, that relationship becomes far more valuable than the car itself. That relationship is what separates Ferrari from almost every other luxury manufacturer. Because for Ferrari, selling a car is never the end of the story. It's the beginning of a long-term relationship. And over time, that relationship becomes one of the company's most valuable assets. Imagine two customers. The first walks into a dealership and buys a Ferrari. He enjoys it for a few months. Then immediately sells it for a profit. The second buys a Ferrari. Drives it. Maintains it through the official dealer network. Attends Ferrari events. Returns a few years later to purchase another model. Which customer is more valuable to Ferrari? The answer is obvious. The second customer isn't just buying cars. He's investing in the brand. And Ferrari rewards loyalty. The company has openly acknowledged that, when selecting buyers for some of its most sought-after limited series cars, it gives priority to clients with whom it has built strong, long-term relationships. Purchase history matters. Ownership history matters. Participation in Ferrari events matters. It's not a secret. It's part of Ferrari's philosophy of preserving the long-term value of the brand. In fact, recent company statements reveal just how loyal Ferrari's customer base really is. Around 84% of new Ferraris sold in 2025 went to existing Ferrari owners. More than half were purchased by people who already owned multiple Ferraris. Those numbers tell an incredible story. Ferrari isn't constantly chasing new customers. Its greatest strength is keeping the ones it already has. Think about that for a moment. Most companies spend billions trying to convince people to come back. Ferrari has customers who spend decades doing exactly that. And that's one of the reasons the company can afford to say something almost no other manufacturer can. We're not trying to sell as many cars as possible. They're trying to build the right relationships. Of course, that philosophy has also created countless rumors. You've probably heard stories claiming Ferrari has a secret blacklist. Or that celebrities have been permanently banned from buying Ferraris. The reality is much more nuanced. Ferrari has, on several occasions, defended its trademarks and brand image through legal action. Like many luxury companies, it actively protects how its name, logos, and intellectual property are used. But many of the dramatic stories repeated online have been simplified, exaggerated, or taken completely out of context. The real story is actually far more interesting. Ferrari doesn't need dramatic publicity. Its business model already creates something far more powerful. Desire. When supply is intentionally limited, every invitation becomes valuable. Every allocation becomes a privilege. Every delivery becomes an event. That's exactly why Ferrari's special series cars often become instant collector's items. The exclusivity begins long before the car is delivered. It begins with access. And access is something money alone cannot guarantee. Perhaps the greatest lesson Ferrari teaches has nothing to do with horsepower. Or carbon fiber. Or lap times. It's about human psychology. People naturally value what is difficult to obtain. The harder something is to access, the more desirable it becomes. Ferrari understood that decades ago. Instead of flooding the market, it carefully controls production. Instead of discounting cars, it protects their value. Instead of trying to satisfy every customer immediately, it focuses on preserving the prestige of the brand for decades to come. It's a strategy that requires patience, discipline, and sometimes the courage to say no. Today, Ferrari is one of the most profitable luxury companies in the automotive industry. Not because it builds the most cars, but because it never forgot what made the prancing horse special in the first place. Exclusivity isn't created by high prices. It's created by restraint. And perhaps that's the biggest misconception of all. Ferrari doesn't refuse to sell cars because it wants to exclude people. It carefully manages access because protecting desire is one of the greatest luxuries any brand can offer. The next time you see a Ferrari driving down the street, remember. You're not just looking at an extraordinary machine. You're looking at decades of strategy. A company that understood that, in the luxury world, scarcity can be even more valuable than speed. And maybe that's Ferrari's greatest engineering achievement of all. Not building one of the fastest cars on Earth, but building one of the most desired brands the world has ever known. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden strategy behind Ferrari, you'll love what's coming next. Because in our next documentary, we're uncovering another extraordinary story from the world of luxury. One that proves money doesn't always buy access. Sometimes. It only buys the chance to wait.